Hi, I'm on the Bible Forum. Are you? I'm Warren Sprouse. I'm here every Sunday night from 8 to 10 p.m. looking at life through a biblical lens. Do you know what's going on in the Middle East? You know what Turkey's up to? We know that Turkey moved some troops into Syria several months ago. They wanted to secure their border. They moved, I think, several miles into Syria to get all those crazy people out of there. And they took a lot of decent people with them. We know about this because the United States said okay, and they pulled their troops out of the way so that Syrian troops could go in. It was a controversial move. Well, now we've got something called the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, SOHR. They reported last Monday, that Turkish-backed Syrian mercenaries have begun arriving in Libya. That's in North Africa for all you public school educated listeners. Apparently 2,400 troops are already in Libya, in Tripoli. Another 1,700 are undergoing training in Turkey to be shipped over. Activists informed the SOHR that Turkey intends to send a total of 6,000 troops into Libya. Turkey's backing the Tripoli-based Government of National Accord, the GNA, in its fight against the eastern-based Libyan National Army, led by General Khalifa Haftar, and backed by Russia. So Turkey's gone up against Russia, not in his face, but in this instance. The GNA is supported by Egypt and Saudi Arabia. The GNA also receives air support from the United Arab Emirates. We're watching pieces of the puzzle and on the board moving around, proxies, many of them. The new Syrian troops are mercenaries. They've been hired from rebel groups opposing Syrian President Bashar Assad. The Turkish government will pay each soldier a monthly stipend of $2,000. That's a lot more than the $50 they earn to fight back home in Syria. The Syrian troops are also fighting against the Kurds in Libya. Turkish intervention is a manifestation of Turkish President Erdogan's aspiration to establish himself as a leader in the global Islamic nation. The SOHR reported that a commander of the Turkish-backed Syrian troops en route to Libya announced as their battle cry, quote, "We will present our souls for the Ottoman Caliphate." You know what the Ottoman Caliphate was? It's known here in the West as the Ottoman or Turkish Empire. It was founded in the 13th century, eventually controlled much of Southeast Europe, Western Asia, North Africa. That control lasted for several hundred years and only truly ended after World War I, when the empire was partitioned by the Allied powers and the 101st and final Caliph, Sultan Abdulmecid II, was deposed and expelled. But you knew all that. I told you about it last week, or maybe it was a week before that. The Ottoman Empire was a Sunni caliphate which exerted a hegemonic power of Muslim control over the non-Muslim populations, most notably the Christian/Catholic majority. In accordance with Muslim dhimmi systems, Christians were guaranteed limited freedoms such as the right to worship. They were, however, forbidden to carry weapons or ride on horseback. Their houses could not overlook those of Muslims. And there were a lot of other legal limitations. Many Christians and Jews converted in order to secure full status in the society. Before his election, Turkish political analysts feared that candidate Erdogan's rise to power was fueled by his aspirations and those of his supporters to return Turkey to its former glory as the head of the Muslim world. His term in office has confirmed these fears. In the wake of a failed attempt at a coup by a faction in the army in 2016, Erdogan mobilized the military against the populace and jailed hundreds of dissidents. But Erdogan's caliphate aspirations extend beyond the borders of Turkey and target Israel, and most specifically Jerusalem. At a summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, the OIC, in Istanbul last year, Erdogan called on all of the 57 Muslim member nations to join together against Israel to avenge the deaths of Palestinians killed while charging the southern border of Gaza. In 2015, Erdogan gave a speech commemorating 562 years since the Turks captured Constantinople, now known as Istanbul, from European Christians, in which he called for the Muslim conquest of Jerusalem. Conquest is Mecca. Conquest is Saladin. Conquest is to hoist the Islamic flag over Jerusalem again. Conquest is the heritage of Mehmed II, and conquest means forcing Turkey back on its feet, Erdogan said in a speech in Istanbul. Erdogan's support of the Palestinians was returned in kind in a Muslim gathering on the Temple Mount earlier this month, commemorating the conquest of Constantinople in 1453. Nidal Abu Ibrahim Siam, a Palestinian preacher, addressed a crowd of approximately 7,000. As reported by the Middle East Media Research Institute, Siam told the crowd that 3 prophecies would soon be fulfilled. 1, a rightly guided caliphate will be established. 2, Jerusalem will be liberated and established as its capital. And thirdly, Islam will, quote, throw its neighbors to the ground, end of quote, thereby achieving world domination. The gathering was organized by an international pan-Islamist political organization dedicated to establishing a global caliphate. Founded in Jerusalem in 1953, this organization is banned in many countries. 2 months ago, Turkey signed a maritime borders deal that gave Turkey a claim to parts of eastern Mediterranean. In addition to its strategic military importance, the eastern Mediterranean has a huge natural gas deposit. Turkey's entrance into the eastern Mediterranean puts it into close proximity with Israel and its offshore natural gas facilities. Religion is business, he said. Establishing a caliphate is certainly a big part of Erdogan's agenda, but to do that, he needs money and power. Taking over the gas in the Mediterranean will give him that. The message here? Keep your eye on Turkey and the Middle East. That's where it's all going to come together one day.